Let's see if hashtags work. Well, I drop frames all over the place. The maroon shirt makes everything on the camera look quite warm. Let's see if I can fix that. It looks a little better. You'd think that my connection would be better with warmer weather, but not happening. Not tonight. No idea if anybody's going to show up tonight, so. So hopefully this stream will be stable enough and I'll just kind of get this stuff done. Bear with me for a second here. These kind of streams are great because, with my single monitor setup, I can just kind of glance over and see what's going on over there. I'm going to act like people are here. So I don't know whether anybody's here or not because I can't tell through mobile chat. You'd think Twitch would come up with an app for streamers so that they can control their channel from their mobile device. That would be too easy, wouldn't it? That would be way too easy. So I did Kirby a couple of weeks ago, and that little guy I made, I think back in 2009, and I decided to paint him when I did Kirby. So it's just kind of have these guys floating around or whatever. So I'm going to work on this. Sculpted this last night. So I think it came out pretty damn good considering. What helped me out was this stuff here. It's a clay softener. I probably used about 6 drops of this. Made it a lot easier to work with, so everything stuck together. Baked it for about an hour or so. Oh, hell, all these cheap brushes to go through. Which one do I actually use here? Some of these brushes are really bad. I keep saying this, but I have a commission to work on, but due to its nature, I'm not going to stream that. There's actually going to be a lot of nudity in it, so. Hey guys, how's it going? And, in other news, my intestines haven't been doing very well. I think I know why, so I'm gonna avoid that certain food from now on. I confirmed lactose intolerance in September, and I decided last night I was going to have some soup. And as it turns out, it's a cream-based soup, which, it's not the usual brand that I get. It just doesn't have that junk in it, but this specific brand did. So you can just imagine. Oh, thank you. It's okay. I've felt worse. It's manageable. Just got a little bit angry, not too bad. Not like back in September when I was staying with my brother and I was eating all kinds of food that I hadn't eaten in a long time and caught up with me on Sunday morning as I was leaving. I was not feeling very well that morning. It took a while to clear up. I'm pretty sure it was because of all the dairy and other things that were being consumed that day. I used to be one of those people, but after having problems with GERD and figuring out that a lot of it was being caused by milk that I was consuming for breakfast. When I cut it out, I started feeling a lot better, and then I started cutting out other things too. And then when I was on a quest a little over a year ago to lose some weight, um, actually I'm gonna want to paint some white in here too, so I'm gonna do that. But after cutting that stuff out, um, I cut out almost all dairy, so the body no longer needs to process that kind of stuff, and Yeah, I was playing TPA a little earlier than I found out as I was watching another streamer. As I was just kind of like chilling out, waiting for this to happen. I found out there was another TPA tournament going on. So I was like, oh, I didn't see any last night. I said, yeah, it just went up today. Like, oh, all right, I'll go check it out. So checked it out and qualify for a bronze tournament, and I only have I only have license for 4 out of the 8 tables that are in the tournament, but one of them is Space Shuttle. It's one of my favorites, and after a couple of goes at it, I ended up placing second so far. I think it's running a week long. Gosh, this brush does not want to clean on the bottom. But yeah, I was playing that for a little bit and racking up some decent scores, I guess. Really about it going on with me. Was having an interesting discussion on Facebook earlier today about certain people looking into Patreon as being some kind of an alternative revenue stream, which, it depends on what kind of content you're delivering. If it's stuff like the 3D stuff that I'm doing right now, it's really a niche market, and I was trying to explain to these people in the best terms possible that there's really not no interest, but there's just very little interest in the 3D stuff that I'm doing. And I have a Patreon. I've had it for about 3 years or so, and I fought with it, and I just kind of abandoned it about 2.5 years ago. So you got people that are kind of like asking about it, but they had already made up their mind, to go ahead and do it. And, a lot of the stuff that you see on there for that kind of artwork is erotic artwork. There's a lot of porn and nudity and stuff like that. Now, I remember I joked about it, I think it was last week on stream, something about how I could make bank doing that kind of stuff, at my skill level, because a lot of this stuff, this is becoming one of my favorite words here. You'll know what it is when I say it again. But a lot of that work in my community looks really janky. Just really, really bad. So at my skill level, I could make probably some serious money doing that. Maybe even replacing my job income. It's possible. Which in the grand scheme of things is not a lot of money. But it's a good chunk. But not me. I joked about it, but it was kind of a half joke. I have some principles here. This model turned a little bit brown, didn't it? I'm gonna end up painting the whole bottom, I think. We're gonna do several coats of this, so I will do that, and then I'll check Twitch and see what's going on. But yeah, the quality of that stuff that I've seen out there that's being peddled on Patreon or whatever, pretty bad. Not just because it's porn, but the quality's not there. Could be much higher quality. Um, yes and no. What I'll sometimes do, and I've really been kind of having to force myself to go back to this table and do stuff. Um, so last night there wasn't a whole lot going on, and I was kind of playing video games sporadically, going back and forth. I streamed a bunch last night, about 2.5 hours worth, and I was having some computer problems and Twitch problems and connection problems and all that stuff. But I kind of trudged through it all. But man, when was that? I think like 3 in the morning or something. One of my favorite streamers in the whole world now is a guy named Mark. He's doing a lot of game development right now, game design stuff. But I mentioned on Facebook that I was looking at an application for a number of years called Marvelous Designer. This is going to get a little long-winded, but I promise I'll get to the point. Um, so so this guy Mark, earlier in the week, he got trial version of Marvelous Designer 6. Now, Marvelous Designer is a cloth sim, basically. Under the hood, it's a cloth sim. Um, but it is a clothing designer. You get 3D avatar, or you can import your own, and you can design clothing with this application, and it works very much like if you're working with real patterns, clothing patterns, And there's actually two versions of it. There's one that's marketed. I can see fingerprints in there. Anyway, um, let me catch up with chat first. I've seen some really good 3D art too. Um, the thing about that though is not a lot of it is Daz Studio or Poser, which actually I'll segue into uh, the link between that stuff and Marvelous Designer. And I'm going to need a little bit more paint. Yeah, I was watching Mark pretty much putting this application through its paces. He was actually breaking stuff in it, which I thought was really cool, He has the time to do that cuz he's a content developer. He no longer works in the visual effects industry full time. He does that kind of stuff. I don't know how I'm gonna. That's a problem with that right there. You got it. You have to place it on something and it needs to dry. Um, but yeah, Mark's like putting this software through its paces, and he's like trying stuff that basically is not. He's doing stuff in the software that is not designed to do what he's trying to do. But it was really cool, and I was actually learning a lot of stuff about it because, I can sit there and watch him mess around with the interface, and a lot of the terms I already understand. So, but he's like mucking through all this. But there's there are content creators for Daz Studio and Poser who design clothes in that application, and they then sell it in they sell the stuff in the marketplace. Um, that's that's a path that I can take on the way to where I want to go. You know, it's been under consideration for a number of years. Um, and I was really, really, really on the fence about purchasing it because there's a Steam version that's on sale now. Here's the thing about Marvelous Designer, because I've been looking at it for a number of years because of the price. Okay, we'll just say an individual. perpetual license costs you $550. Okay. You can get an annual subscription for, I think it's like 300 and change. And then you have a $60 a month rental. Now, if you're an enterprise, I believe you pay something like $5,000 for a perpetual license. So if you're a visual effects company, like $4,000 or $5,000 is nothing to you, because you're already spending that kind of money on stuff like Maya or whatever you choose to use in your pipeline. This is getting really technical, but for an individual, even the Steam sale can be kind of high. And I think that sale's going to be over this weekend. But the sale price is, I think, $240. I can afford it, But then I'm thinking, well, what if I don't spend the time to actually learn it, and then I'm out $240 or, stuff like that. But I was like, I'm watching him, and he's talking about this software. He's like, oh man, this is great. There's like nothing else that can do this, But then he was, as he was kind of putting the software through hell, he was like noting things that he didn't like about it either, But I think it was during his second stream, I was like, so Mark, what do you think? I mean, is this really a good value? Because it has a different license structure than what's on the website. It's like it's a Steam version. You have to use it through Steam. You don't get any upgrades. You don't get any discounts for upgrades, stuff like that. You get the software, and that's what you got, and you get patches and stuff. But it's still really good software. It's fully featured software. He's like, I like it a lot. He said, but this is like quoting him. He's like, dude, get how did he say it? He said, just get why am I stumbling over these words? Because I know exactly what he said. He said, just get the fucking trial. Put it through its paces. He said, you could buy it and then find out a week later that you can't use it, or it's a piece of shit for you, and then you're out $240. He says that $240 is a lot of money for a piece of software. And this is coming from a guy who uses animation software that's like well over $500, but he utilizes it, and he makes money at it. So, and it suits his needs. Now this is gonna have to sit here for a bit. All right. Yeah, retro girly dresses. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there isn't a whole lot of that out there. And what I've noticed is, they they update the figure like every year and a half or 2 years or something like that. And all they really do for content is they do reheats of stuff that people have made before. Because it's easier to just take something that you took a couple of weeks to build as a professional modeler. You build it on, say, like Victoria 4, just as an example. And you spent all this time, and time is money, so you spent all this money constructing this, and then it technically becomes obsolete after a while. So then you got this new Genesis figure that comes out. So what do? You take that model that you made for V4, and you just make little tweaks here and there so that it'll fit the new figure. Because it's a humanoid figure. How fucking different is it going to be? And this humanoid figure is constructed by this one company. So you just do that. I just see reheat upon reheat upon reheat of like the same fucking content. In fact, if you go back, guys, to let's see. Yeah, 240 is a lot. Poser costs more than that if you buy the fully featured version. Um, and I have Clip Studio Paint EX, I believe, which is like a $125 piece of software or something like that. I got it for 40, um, 2 Black Fridays ago. So if I buy something for 40 and then I never use it again, well, okay, I'm out $40. It's my fault, but I'm not out like 240. You know what I'm saying? And I have actually, I got it working and I messed around with it once or twice, but let's get this fan going in here. It's getting a little stuffy. But yeah, it's a substantial investment for sure. It's something you really have to make sure that you know that you're going to actually use it. So, but and now I don't really quite remember where I was going with this. I'm gonna give that another minute or so to dry. So when I do that, I'll look over here and see how my frame rate's doing. Stuff. Yeah, there was just there was that one incident right about when I was playing the Super Mario music. It was off of YouTube, so it's probably a little janky. Yeah, again, it's like one of my favorite words now. um, but yeah, it's a big investment. But then you think like me, I'm like I can learn how to use that software. I looked at it, I was like, okay, it reminds me of Daz Studio. It doesn't look that hard to learn. The interface looked somewhat like Unity or whatever, So I'm like, yeah, I can learn this. It's not like Blender hard. But I'm like, what if I can't get it to run right on my computer? You know? Or what if what if all the gothic clothing that I want to model doesn't really quite work out for what I'm trying to do, Or what if while I'm learning that I decide to do stuff in Blender and I just like take a completely different path and now I get this fucking software that. But yeah, that was the whole thing there. And Mark actually he goes by MoteDD on Twitch. And yeah, he's a professional guy, but he's very accessible. And it's like I just I just kind of I asked him in the chat, and he was like he'll answer you straight away. It may take him a couple of minutes to get to you because he's working. But I was like, yeah, that's like really cool when you can actually ask somebody like that, a fellow creative. Oh, and the thing about that, I know I've been kind of dancing around all over the place. I was talking about Patreon and shit like that, but it all eventually goes back full circle. I meander, but I do reach that point eventually. But a bunch of us actually had a discussion about Daz Studio in Mark's channel as we were watching him do stuff for Marvel's Designer. That was really how the whole my question came about. Somebody was asking me like, well, okay, he was asking me specific questions about what I wanted to achieve and stuff like that. It's really awesome when you're when you're in a Twitch chat like that when everybody's fucking mature, okay, and you're all like-minded individuals. You're not children. You're not out to troll people. You're there to help each other. You're all your peers. It's really fucking cool. Yeah, I swear. Whatever. Um, but it's nice. It's nice to have that. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. Well, let me catch up. I saw the thing about arcade machines. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, still using the basic stuff on GIMP. I've been using GIMP for years. I use it professionally. Um, Most Photoshop brushes work in GIMP. Now GIMP has some drawbacks, so I'm kind of getting to that point where, like in GIMP, you can't just like spin your canvas around. So it's hard to draw in certain angles. So I got to figure out some other avenue with that. But I've been using GIMP professionally for a long time, and people have actually said to me like, or actually like they would see my work and they would ask, oh, so what are you using, man? You using Photoshop? I'm like, I've been using GIMP for like 7 years, and actually had somebody say to the effect of, why the hell are you using GIMP? You should be using Photoshop. You're a professional, right? I was like, tell you what, if you're willing to pay for a full suite Photoshop license for me, you know, it's only $3.99 per year. I'm not asking for much. I was like, you want me to use professional software? Okay. Uh, Buy me a license for ZBrush. It's only $800. Not a problem, right? I was like, how about Poser Game Development Edition? It's like, I don't know, 480 or something. 4 and change anyway. I was like, yeah, just I can furnish a PayPal address for you. Just send it right to there, and I'll get right to it. So that was my version, is my brand of salt. Is I I got kind of salty last night about that too. I mean, it was Animu and he jokes around and stuff like that anyway. But like, I just like stopped for a second. I was like, hey man, tell you what, Dash Studio is free software. You're welcome to download it. It comes with free content. Have at it, man. I said, give yourself a week and then tell me how you feel about it. I just looked at the camera and I was like, I've been doing this for 11 fucking years. And I know he was trying to trigger me and he couldn't do it. Cuz he was like offering criticism and stuff and he's like, "How dare you be an adult?" And it was actually kind of funny. You can see that in the VOD too. I was like, "Dude, I know. You're just joking around." He does have some issues that, it's hard to cope with, so we won't get into that. That's something that's between me and him. Let's let that sit. Sit there for a bit. Catch up with chat. But yeah, um, that's that's a different guy. Miss Got a Million. I was talking about Moat DD, but there's another guy, Invader Kendall. He's awesome. That guy is friggin' awesome. He's been, I think, streaming for like 3 years or something. But he's really good at Blender, and Blender has such a steep learning curve. You know, I was watching him last night doing stuff for. He put in quotes a client is actually like one of his best Twitch friends. And as we were sitting in there watching him, um, this guy that's like he's doing work for like sent him $250 through the stream. And just the look on Kendall's face, I was like, oh my god, that look. He was just like, his mouth was like to the floor. And he's like, dude, I told you. I the what I'm doing here for you, I owe you. I owe you this. And the guy's like, you deserve to be paid, man. I'm like, it's so awesome. That is the kind of community that I love. You know? Kendall's community, fucking awesome. I don't have a single issue with anybody that I've talked to in a stream. Same with Moat DD. When we get together and we're not. I used to be really salty towards other people that are doing the same thing, but I learned the error of my ways. there's still heated discussions like in the DAS community, but that's a lot of those people are just immature. Or I should say, a lot of the people who are immature, they're blocked. So we can have intelligent discourse now, which is good. I like that. This is probably going to need another coat, but let's see. Yeah, yeah. Um, and before I used GIMP, I was using PaintShop Pro version X, I believe, and I'm a little ashamed to admit it, I did not pay for that software. But when I started taking this stuff really seriously in the 3D, I'm like, I gotta come clean. I gotta pay for everything, because otherwise it's gonna like come back at me. You start selling stuff, and then people find out, well, you're using like pirated software, and it was a long time ago. It's not something you really should be mentioning on Twitch, but it was such a long fucking time ago. It was like 8 years ago. So that's the thing. That's kind of my lesson is 9 times out of 10, if you're pirating a piece of software, you're going to be able to find a free and open source solution to that. It was shortly after that thing with PaintShop that I discovered Linux. And at the time, it was a little janky, but it works a lot better now. But I discovered all this fucking software. It was like free and open source, and while it may not mirror all the features of the paid stuff, it does a damn good job usually. Blender is a very, very powerful piece of software, just very hard to learn. Some of the functions in there are quite convoluted, but I can do basic modeling in there, and I feel comfortable now. So if I use it every day, I'd be a fucking whiz. But I'm doing stuff like this. It's like, I think I'll work on sculpting today. I think I'll build jewelry tomorrow. It's like, it's not conducive to actually learning something that you need to learn, because you're all over the place. And that's me. I like to. It's the best thing I could do on Twitch is, since I'm not very entertaining. Sometimes if I change my thing up, I'll get different viewers, and maybe I'll get somebody interested, So, hi Jello, how's it going? I wish Twitch mobile chat actually gave you timestamps. But what can you do? It's a free app, so could probably, again, if I have the time to do it, but it would consume all of my time. I could actually develop an iOS app, or maybe somebody probably already has it. Something that would work with IRC. If I worked with that stuff, then I could definitely have a Twitch chat with all kinds of extra bells and whistles. Gosh, this is like I've done like 3 coats already, and it's still not satisfied. And then you're trying to keep up a certain pace with this, and sometimes you're like, I'm going a little bit too fast getting all this stuff coated, so it's starting to look a little blah. I know that'll smooth out when I do my top coat, but it is what it is. But yeah, like if I got to where I am with DAS Studio because I worked on it for so long, spent a lot of fucking time in it. Oh, should I continue the little salty thing well, actually that was about it. I'm thinking of something else. I was doing I was going through my videos earlier. Come on, will you please rest on that? You're not resting on it. This is not cooperating. It keeps wanting to roll. Oh, please. Stop. Okay. What else? Real artist knows how to work many mediums, jack of all trades, not the master guru. I am a jack of many trades and I'm a master of one. The thing is, you can master several different disciplines. It just takes a lot of time. Thankfully, since I don't have any kids, I I'm I have some time, you know, but it can be rough, if you're working a full-time job like me where your heart's not really in it anymore and you're not being paid well for it, and it's really a time suck. You're just pretty much miserable as soon as you get up and you're thinking about you had to go in. And it's not a hard job, it's not a bad job, it's one of those things. So when you get home, it's like you just don't want to fucking do anything. So it can be rough on your mental being. But yeah, well, let's let that sit there for a bit. And I'll walk over here and obsess over things on the computer again. Oh, I got more views. No additional drop frames. That's cool. Master of sexy cute dollies. Yeah, I am. Um, but one thing I was talking about on Facebook, with this whole Patreon thing, I was like, the shit's not working for me. I said I've been playing the social media game for like 6 or 7 years. Nothing has worked. I get tepid followings. I was like, guys, it's not. I'm not. I'm filling a very small niche. It doesn't have a widespread general appeal, and that's what you need in order to be successful with something like that, because it's all about numbers. Individually, you're not going to get a whole lot from an individual, but if you can have like 10,000 people all like following you, you're gonna be you're gonna be doing well. And that's just like that's still small potatoes, but like over 1,100 people follow me on Facebook, and about 1% of those people at any one given time will actually see a post of mine. I think I actually said it was like less than 1%. I'll just say like 1% of 1,100 people. And it took me, let's see, 8 years to build that number up. 8 fucking years to build that number up. It's disheartening. And I didn't learn this until last November when I was doing a local Comic Con. Um, I learned that if you mention anything about money or commissions on Facebook, they will bury your post. Absolutely fucking bury it. I was like, well, it's too late for me because I've been doing that for years. It doesn't make them money, you know. They stay afloat through ad dollars, and if you're not generating the ad dollars, they're going to obscure your content. I know people on Facebook who are actively being silenced by Facebook because of their content. I know people. Not personally, but their peers, people that are being silenced by Facebook because of their content. It's partially because these people were targeted by other users, but once Facebook has you on their radar, they will fuck with you. Absolutely. It's a very sad thing because this is our life now. It's how we put ourselves out there, is through this social media stuff. So, like I had somebody say today, well, you just got to be like stubborn and get your stuff out there and blah 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 and do it. Just kind of put your nose to the grindstone. It's like I've been playing this game for 11 years. So I'm thinking, what fucking answer do you have now? What's your answer to that? What's your answer to me trying for over a decade and not getting anywhere? I mean, really. I need more volume on this. I apologize. But eventually I get a little salty whenever I stream, and then it kind of chills out again. But when I was working with Mara on the Valentine's Day render, got a little salty about things about content actually. Like I was saying something like I modeled a heart collar in Blender. Now I've not been able to find anywhere a 3D asset heart collar anywhere. So I bucked up, as in bucked, bucked up, and I set out to learn how to make one. So I did it because I could not find one anywhere. And I was like, guys, look on Amazon, type in heart collar, see how many fucking hits you get. I was like, this is a very, very popular piece of accessory clothing. You see his shit all over the place. Not one person made one in 3D for a figure. Not one fucking person. And guess what? Was there any interest of it in it? From other people? If like they see a rendering, I was like, hey, I made this heart collar in Blender. You want it? No interest. Zero. What the fuck are you people smoking? I mean, really, it blows my mind, some of this, you know? And I actually got some genuine interest, the earrings that I made a few years ago. And they're set to go in Dash Studio. You can install it and you can use it. I could put it in a marketplace, but nobody fucking wants it. I'm like, really? How many swords are there? There are thousands of fucking swords. Who needs another fucking sword? It's just, you know? It's just, the whole thing is frustrating. Let's catch up. Because, I get rambling and I start painting and then I don't pay attention to other things. As for new creations, I streamed something yesterday that was a commission, and I made a couple of things over the past week or so. I could probably show you that on stream. I kind of, muck through all of this, but yeah, there's been some new stuff. Good friend of mine had a birthday not too long ago. It's like about a week ago. So she just like made this suggestion like, oh, that would be cool if you could do it in 3D. It's like, hey, you know what? It's like her birthday tomorrow. This isn't going to take long. I'll just spend like an hour or two at this and just kind of bang it out. So I did. It came out pretty good. But yeah, there was that, and actually I could show you this real quick. This wallpaper I did the other day. The character I rendered, excuse me, about a week ago, but I finally decided to go ahead and finish this like Wednesday night. So let's pull up the 5.4 version. This is the 5.4 version. And again, just like yesterday, you guys see this here first. It's not anywhere else. It's Valentine's theme. Lots of purple, a little pink. Yeah, I've done a couple things here and there. What else we got going on? Miss God sold one piece in 9 years. I kind of know the feeling. I kind of do. For teasing you once, I had more watchers. I have a lot of watchers, but no fucking interest. So it's actually a little bit worse, you know? I feel worse because there's all these people and they don't see it, whether it's being suppressed by the social media that controls it all, or that the people are just not interested, you know? Like I would get reactions at Comic Cons about my stuff and people like can't quite make out exactly what they see, you know? I think I hit a lot of Uncanny Valley stuff, you know? And was it a week ago? I think it was that somebody there's a lot of people in the virtual and real pinball community. A lot of that stuff is like on Twitch now. It's really starting to take off. And I remember one guy last week. I jumped into another guy's channel after streaming. He was like, "Yeah, I kind of did a little ninja or whatever. Like I kind of creeped in and creeped back out, see what you were doing." He said something like, "You make sex dolls?" And I was like, "Sex dolls?" He goes, that didn't come out right." It's like, well, what the hell do you mean then? But then I went to somebody else's channel and I saw that he had one of my Sarah renderings up on his stream with a link to my stream address. I was like, I did a double take. That's my Sarah. He's like, she's cool. I was like, well, thank you. So there are people that appreciate it. Just there aren't enough for me to really kind of gain headway. Yeah, that's the thing. If you, I'm reading if you were doing 3D rendering, then wouldn't find anything like all dolly. You like the opaque hearts? I think it's really cool too. Um, yeah, that's the thing. I was saying last week that I would make bank on that kind of thing. I would absolutely, but I've said this many times. I have principles, and you know, like that was part of the whole Patreon discussion. You know, somebody was like saying, "Well, you know, if you really want to be successful at it, you're going to need at least 1,000 people following you. You know, there's no way around that." He said, and a lot of it is sex related. I was like, yeah, and now I'm not going to trigger anybody, but I said vor is very popular, as well as tentacle porn. It is in 3D. In 3D, though, those two genres are very, very popular. It's disgusting to me. Um, and it's not rendered very well either. On top of that, I'm like, yeah, stuff's very popular, and I don't want that on my resume. So the guy said something like, you know, some of these people I know, and they have like aliases and stuff. I was like, yeah, that stuff always gets back to you in the end. Somebody will definitely learn about it. Whether that would affect your employment or not, I couldn't tell you. Some employers may not even give a shit, but I'm like, no, I'm not taking the fucking risk. Besides that, it turns my stomach. The thought of any of my characters performing sex acts, I do not feel comfortable. I just don't. I mean, here's the thing about that. There are school-age children that like my characters. Could you just fucking imagine? I can't even, you know, I can't. So, if I go on in life not making enough money to replace my income, because I decided not to make sex dolls, well, you know, sometimes you got to take the high road. You take the low road, it can get really fucking low. You know what I'm saying? So, so this is gonna take a little time. Thankfully, I have time. So I wonder if I should mask that or just kind of paint. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I keep thinking that it's got to be perfect, and it's like, I'm still actually learning this stuff, so it's been a very long time since I've painted with any kind of precision. But since you get so adept at one thing, you're very hard on yourself when you're working on other stuff, and you're like, I was at this level before. So yeah, it can get to you. Should probably have different. I should probably swap that out. I'm done with the white. I think I'll do that. I'll clean my brushes out and change this water here. But before that, I'm gonna catch up more on that. Sarah is one of those. I can't really explain it. Just the way that rendering came out a little over a year ago is I still think it's one of my best pieces ever, and certainly my most favorite piece out of that year. I was super happy with it. I don't know. Sometimes you just hit it out of the park, so to speak. Sometimes you just everything comes together at that moment, and you're like, God damn, that's really good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's that stuff is mostly harmless, but it it wouldn't take much to actually go looking for it, and that this is what I mean. Somebody did, or I should say, somebody has been doing a series of YouTube videos on weird DeviantArt artwork, and one of his videos was 3D tentacle porn, and I dare you to watch it. Vor too. He did one on Vor too. I dare you to watch that. It's not hard to find. I won't actually tell you who did it, but you'll find it. You'll be like, my God, this is not only is it disgusting, it's garbage. The way it's done, it's just total garbage. It's not what you think. It's absolutely terrible, and the people love it. I'm just like, my God, really? But yeah, let's see. I'm gonna change this water, so let's slap this up. I'll be right back. I had like 20 more drop frames at some point. Still below 600. Let's see. Fetish people are intense. Yeah, they are. Shifuin started watching. Yeah, some people are really addicted to that kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. It's why there's not a lot of fetish work that I actually do myself. Really just, about half my characters are vampires, and there is a fetish attached to that, so. But it's very popular too. It's in like all the media and stuff, so it's like it's become softened, I guess, or something. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. but but yeah. Yeah, some of that stuff really dried up fast here. If anybody has trouble seeing, just let me know and I'll try. I'll see if I can remember to adjust things. But maybe the closest, like maybe kind of weird out there thing that I feel comfortable working with actually, it just has to do with transgender stuff, with where men will pay me to make avatars of them as a cute anime type girl, which is really just it's actually very tame. If you think about it, it's just a caricature of somebody, nothing far out about it. Yeah, more socially accepted. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's that too. But probably the weirdest request I ever had was somebody asked me some years ago if I could render a demon lady, but she would like unzip her skin and the demon would like kind of crawl out. I was like, what? Like, really, what? I guess it's something like, I'm sorry, I don't wouldn't even know where to start, even if I considered doing that. It's like, no, I don't do that kind of stuff. Sorry, dude. It's like, what in the hell? Some people got some issues, I can tell you that. It's not exactly, I wouldn't call that healthy. It was a very specific thing. I'm just like, what? Here's where I get all quiet because I'm trying to paint so close to this. I made like 3D elements for the white spots in this mushroom, and I'm just like trying to paint around it. And the thing is, I got to do like 4 coats like this. It's like, oh god, it's gonna take a super long time. I might not even stream the whole thing because I actually have work to do on my day off. What else is new, right? Story of my life. Something from Hellraiser? Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but yeah, that's definitely a body horror type of thing. But it was very, to me, just a very weird request. I felt very uncomfortable about it. There are other things that people have asked me about, and I was like, I draw the line at certain things. All right, Bill, you're just gonna have to accept that it's not gonna be picture perfect here. These are cheap brushes, but they're actually bristles are actually pretty good considering cheap they are where I bought them. Just in concentrate mode right now. I think it's partly why I don't really get a lot of people interested because they're just like they show up, they don't see any music or anything. They're just like, oh, here's just this guy that's like doing this, and they're looking for entertainment value. I'm not here to entertain anybody. However, if you find me entertaining, thank you. Yeah, it's actually ended up turning out pretty well if I just kind of anchor my hand and just kind of always had just a little tiny bit of a tremor, just a really tiny bit. It's kind of like you can't really see it, but if I'm doing certain things, it kind of shows up when I'm moving. Just the way it is. So you just, do what you can. So for me, it's kind of anchoring at points on the model so I'm not doing too much up and down. I can actually paint around it fairly well. Turns out halfway decent. There's like hairs coming off of this brush already. Try not to touch all this other stuff. So, see what I mean? How I'm like, I don't know if you can see that I'm kind of anchoring myself like this, kind of gets rid of some of the jitter. You could be very precise doing that. Something that I learned a while back. Coming along fairly well. It's gonna need at least 3 coats though. It's a little janky in there. I shouldn't worry about that too much. But yeah, I've been asked to do some pretty creepy stuff in my travels. Yeah, I messed up there. Well, just gonna have to live with it. I mean, there are flaws on the Kirby too, so. But I look at him now and I'm like, hey, I'm pretty happy with this. See, there was a little tremor right there. Probably can't see that. Just a tiny bit. It's partly why I have trouble drawing straight lines. It's like a lot of people are like that, you know. So many muscles and stuff. It's not like you're gonna be a machine. And probably been at it with the game controller for a good oh, there's some light there. Probably been at it with the game controller for a couple of hours, so that doesn't help. Oh, that's a terrible line. I'm just gonna have to live with it. Bill, you're just gonna have to live with it. Have to find a groove and just kind of just do a nice quick sweep. So it's been a long time since I've been able to do that. I think that's a pretty good sweep there. Don't become a gem cutter. It's so slight. It's so slight, but it's there, and it's always been there. It shows up when I'm trying to do stuff like this. Like if I just kind of hold my hand out and I watch it, then it's usually okay. It's when I'm doing this kind of stuff. And it depends on, again, what I've been doing earlier. My hands were getting a little sore being on the controller so much, so it has something to do with it. But again, this doesn't have to be, I don't have to be a machine. We're not fucking machines. I mean, technically, if I want this to work better, I would make the pieces individually, paint them individually, and then put them together with glue. But I like to do the whole thing in one shot, so this just gives me a good painting exercise and helps me regain a little bit of that precision that I had 20 plus years ago. So, and I'm not kidding when I used to, when I say that I used to paint stuff similar to this semi-professionally a long time ago. It was plastic models. So, and damn, some of the stuff that I saw on the circuit was just, it fucking blew my mind. I was like, how do you guys do this? It's like, well, I've been doing this since I was 6. Oh, well, okay, that explains it. It's like me, I've only been kind of doing it on and off for a few years. I don't know if I ever actually placed anything of any value, but I was a contender. I was in the I was out in the community, as small as it is. It's even smaller now because the rise of 3D digital media in general. get things much more precisely in 3D. Like you could build this in 3D and have it 3D printed. I could probably build something like this in Blender in, no time. Have it 3D printed. But this is handcrafted in clay, so. Yeah, since this is going to take quite a while, I don't know how far I'm going to get before I decide to kill it. Been at it for almost an hour and a half. I assume I'm still on. Actually, I need to paint some like in here before I switch brushes. What else is going on? I think I've had a solid like 3 viewers. That's pretty cool. All right. Oh. This is a very, very nice stool too. I'm sitting on a well, something that's marketed to like nail techs and tattoo artists, stuff like that. I think it cost me like $40 or something. Just an adjustable stool. Has a very, very thick cushion on it. So it's extremely comfortable to sit on. Only drawback is it doesn't really roll very well. You have to put weight on it in order for the wheels to turn. And it's on carpet right now, so there's no way it's really gonna go anywhere. I had to pick it up to move it around, but I'm not doing a whole lot of moving around either, so I'm just like sitting in place. But it's a very, very good investment. The stool that came with this craft table is terrible. I modified it and it still didn't help. It was like it hurt after like sitting in it for 45 minutes. I mean, it just really hurt. I could sit on this for 8 hours and really only have to gripe about my back because I'm kind of stooped over a bit. Stooped over your work like that, your neck will start hurting in your back, and you're 44, catches up to you. Okay. But I don't know how far I'm going to get with this. It depends on how long it takes to stream. Again, I've already been at it for over an hour and a half, and I'm still on my first coat of red here. So probably stream for another hour or so, and then you put somebody else in the background and start working on the commission, which I'm not 100% enthusiastic about it, but be relatively easy. It's going to be somebody else's characters. I think that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm not 100% enthusiastic about it, but yeah. I said, yeah, sure, I'll go ahead and do it. I'll do it. Not a problem. I like the characters, but I don't know. I wanna get my own stuff done. But hey, I got paid for it, I told the person, yeah, go ahead, just send it. Send the points and I'll take care of it. So that'll probably only take a couple hours. New characters in lingerie. It's gonna be like a Valentine's type thing. So it's just 3 basic colors, one for each one, and I'm pretty much controlling the rest of it. So as long as I conform to the character's looks, kind of look and feel, then it'll be good. But I'll show you guys the commission that I finished yesterday. Took about 4 hours or so, maybe a little longer. Again, it wasn't like 100% fun for me, but you know, sometimes that's what happens. When somebody has like specific requests or stuff that's not really vague, like stuff that's not like somebody could hire me to render a certain character and say just like do something gothic. Oh, okay, well I can do that. That's not a problem. And I'll just kind of muck through it and I'll come up with a good concept and I'll render it and I'll have fun doing it. But if it's something like, well, got this one character and this other character and one's brushing her hair and they're at a table and it gets more specific and it's kind of like, it's kind of taking the creativity away from me. But again, I'm being paid for it, so I still like the result and it's still fun working with the characters. It's the creativity aspect of it. When you're kind of a slave to your fans and they want specific things that can it's like, oh well, okay. And this was actually something that wasn't really requested. It was a couple of days ago I found some money in my PayPal. I was like, well, this is odd. What's going on with this? I messaged a person, I didn't get an answer back. So I'm like, well, okay. But somebody else messaged me. It says, yeah, so and so sent you some money, but I'm going to be directing this. I'm like, well, okay, that's interesting. So she had like a specific idea that she came up with, and we kind of worked out some details there. Told her what I could do, what I couldn't do. But then she just kind of stopped. She's like, yeah, okay, we'll use this dress. I'm like, all right. So I was like, well, okay, now I got to come up with a good representation of what this person asked for. It's a fairly specific thing, you know? I'm like, oh God, how am I going to do this? It's like I needed a certain camera angle and things were getting janky and it's like, oh God, it's that drudgery that kind of gets to you. Where it's like you're constrained to certain things. You're constrained even further because you can't make the stuff for yourself from scratch. So it's like I had something worked out in my mind's eye and it's like I could not duplicate it. I was like, I'm gonna have to work through my constraints and get something reasonable. Of course, the person directing it loves it, and everything got approved. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Very few things I've done have not been approved, so at least I got that going for me. Yeah, millions 2 week long negotiations for a free render. It wasn't entirely free. I mean, eventually there was something exchanged. There were some monies exchanged later on down the line. And that was a special thing too. That was normally I would have been like, okay, this is what it costs. This is what I can do. Deal with it. But it was a special thing, so it was a lot of fun. A lot of it was just like kind of the role playing, kind of going back and forth in a way, like kind of bringing you into the world that I created in my head. So it was a very good creative exercise, a lot of fun. So that's why I was like an exception. So let's see how this stuff is going. It's dry to the touch, but some of that might get a little, yeah, you know. So I'm debating whether to start on the black now or just do something like maybe a lot of the models that I see, they're actually black eyes and they got like little eye whites. So maybe I'll just like do black instead. Kind of like to match up Mr. Goomba here. Who almost took a drink of that water. Yeah, exactly, like an RP game. I'll do that sometimes with clients too if they're so inclined and they kind of initiate that sort of thing. I mean, a lot of them are just they're so happy that I'm able to make caricatures of them and kind of bring them into my world. They have a blast kind of interacting with that kind of thing. So that part's a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun. And since I'm at that level that I can actually charge for that kind of thing, it's a benefit. Really, the original reason why I started charging sort of the prices that I charge now is because I was getting inundated with requests. I was like, Bill, if you're really gonna take this stuff seriously, you're gonna have to charge people some kind of reasonable amount that's actually gonna benefit you, and it's gonna weed out a lot of this workload. So I prepared for it. I had a little talk with myself and worked out a pricing structure and worked out scheduling and like I have a whiteboard right next to me, and I promised myself that I would only allow 5 slots of commissions, and that I would only do a certain amount of commissions like per week and per month, that kind of thing. So I was getting really super fucking stressed out over the whole thing. I was putting myself through the paces, and I was overworking myself and not getting paid for it really. So like, okay, this is gonna fix things. At first, I kind of felt bad, kind of alienating certain people because I was doing a lot of stuff for this one person, and I felt bad charging her more money. But I was like, I got to do this. I'm going crazy. I'm going out of my mind. I'm getting overworked. She understood. You know the commissions dwindled, but I was getting more value per. So, and then I've had a couple of people like say on Facebook or whatever who message me. It's like, make me into a doll. It's like, oh, okay. I don't know you from Adam, right? So it's like, but oh, okay, dear. I charged $30 for this and blah 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 and blah blah blah. And some of these people got upset. It's like, "Ugh, you're just gonna charge me? It's like, well, yeah, it's my fucking time. By the way, see ya. But then other people were like, what's your rate? Okay, here's my rate. That's very reasonable. Okay, let's do it. And then there's other people that they're so enamored they'll just throw money at me and say, "Don't worry about it. This is a tip." Like what? Now I owe you something. No, no, don't even worry about it. It's like no, I've gotta do something for you. People like that are just they're my God. It's like wow, somebody just kind of God. This guy in this guy out in London. Well, actually, this last commission I did this for basically for him, but he had somebody else direct the process. And the guy's loaded. I know the guy's loaded because he'll just throw. He's been commissioning a bunch of people past few months or so, including the person who directed a particular piece that I did. And it's like just to see somebody do that. They throw all this money at you, and they're so enamored with what you've created for them. It just blows my mind. It's like wow. You really, really appreciate me. Like on a certain level here, you know. Not only are you not taking me for a ride, you throw money at me and you say, "Just make me beautiful." And it's like, well, I could do that. You know? But, you know, him and I have had some pretty good conversations back and forth too, so it really kind of helped him overcome some things. It's kind of a fringe benefit, I guess. Do-do-do-do-do-do. You can't see that, but I'm like kind of anchoring this hand with this one. Looking at my hands, they're all fucking wrinkly right now because it's wintertime and dry. Been washing my hands a lot too, so stuff dries out. Kind of like lizard skin in a way. Okay, let's see. Consider becoming a patron to an artist who did a beautiful portrait of me. Time will tell. I think I know what you're talking about too. It's really, really good. Very nice work. I hope to get somewhere near that level at some point in time. It's not going to be soon, but I don't know. You know, at the same time, I really enjoy doing all this cartoony stuff, so I may never really take that path. Who knows? I mean, I'm making one-up mushrooms for God's sake. You know, trying very hard not to get anything on the white. There's like a little piece there. You can't see it, but it did get some on there. Let's see, 10, 30 something. I have no idea who else is watching, if anybody. For all I know, it could be showing up as a viewer for some odd reason. I don't know. Alright, Bill, don't play in the paint, you know, just kind of paint. This is water-based acrylic, so can't play in it too much. Especially it's like this off-white color trying to paint over, trying to cover it. Doesn't have very good coverage. It's pretty cheap paint. It's like that Michaels 12 pack for like $7 or something. But it works. You know how to mix colors. You got all the primaries. Plus, I think I got like some gold and silver in there too. I purchased for some odd reason. I don't remember what I used it for, but alright, now it's gotta sit for a little bit. It's coming along. It's looking pretty cool, actually. High quality? I guess. I'll tell you what. Um, if I took that to a Comic Con and put it like a price tag on it for like $8 or $10, somebody would snatch it up. It's heavy enough to be a paperweight too. It's solid. Just like the Kirby is very solid stuff, you know? And to me, it's like, well, okay, it looks like Kirby. It's kind of janky and, it's not painted perfect, but, it's like, somebody would buy that. Somebody would actually buy that. It's not the first thing on my mind, but, you know, I want to do, I want to make my own charms and stuff for like jewelry. So that's like kind of why I was thinking about like donuts and stuff like that, little pastries and stuff. Can make them into earrings, and it's just it takes a lot of time, but then you can command a decent price because of your time and expertise. People are doing it on Etsy, so and you can make something like this, and you can actually make a mold of it. So you make the mold of it, and then you can just craft more. You only have to put in all that time the one time. So then you have a mold, and then you can just like craft 5 or 10 of them, and now you have like a whole army. I've looked at that. There's Sculpey Mold Maker, they call it. It's pretty cool. Well, thank you. It'll grow on me. I think it looks terrible right now, except for certain elements, but eventually I'll be as happy with it as I am with my Kirby, even with all its flaws. And I'm very hard on myself, so. But I really am impressed with how well I was able to model it in a relatively short period of time with, I don't know, I'll show you the reference. It's not it's not quite like it, but it's close. It's a little candy holder. I got it at Michael's. I was like, oh my god, here's these little one-up mushrooms and power-up mushrooms. See, that's the thing. I don't know why I was calling it one-up. This is a power-up. It's not a the one-up is green. I don't know why I was saying one-up. So yeah, feel free to ban me for saying this is a one-up mushroom when it actually isn't. I don't know why I even said it. When I put it in the thing, it's like, why am I even saying one-up? This is not a fucking one-up. This is a power-up. Whatever. Yeah, what can you do? That's cool. Glad you like it. It'll grow on me. Gosh, it's really gonna take a lot of coats. And yeah, when I started the stream, I was playing like Mario 2 music, and it only vaguely matches up this stuff. So, but I like the Mario 2 music. It's my favorite out of like the original three. The US version. So, if you want to talk semantics, I'm talking about the US version of Mario 2. The music is so goofy and fun. It's hard to get out of your head. It's very catchy. It's great. And it's 8-bit. Music is 8-bit, so it's like there's still like complexity to it. You're like, wow. Like if you listen really close to it, you're like, wow. They did all that with like 8 bits and some janky sound chip in a Nintendo. It's like, damn. Oh, that sounded like firework or somebody's car backfiring. Probably a firework. Why are they lighting that shit off now? We'll find out. I mean, it's only one, then yeah. And I mean, there's a neighbor nearby who like does target shooting or something like that, but that's like with a rifle. That did not sound like a rifle. Did not sound really like a gun. It sounded like an M80 cherry bomb or something. Did I already go around this guy? Yeah, I did. This is gonna take at least one more coat. Oh boy. Let that sit for a bit. There we go. Hour and 46 minutes. Didn't take this off. Why didn't you tell me that? Oh, rip. That's terrible. Is it the production value of this channel is garbage. You never told me I left the break time up like that. It's like, you guys didn't even see that shit. Damn it. It does look really good in the camera though. You can't tell, but it's gonna need at least one more coat. Ah well. My mods have failed me. They missed my faux pas on my crafting stream. I'm so sad. Yeah, I mean, I just walked over and I was like, okay, let's see what's going on. It's like, oh my god, the freaking brake thing has been on for like 40 minutes. Rip my life. Oh my god. It's alright. It's alright. Still only like 3 viewers, so. It's getting hard to do this third coat on here. I have to grab points that I probably shouldn't be grabbing right this second. Make the best of it. So I got that Mario 2 music still playing in my head. It's crazy. That overworld music. It's like, damn. I mean, that stuff is good. You know? It's really catchy. catchy, goofy, a lot of fun. Yeah, I only heard the one boom, so I think it was a car backfire or something similar. Neighborhood's usually really, really quiet, so it's a highway nearby, but that's not covering very well. It's weird. Oh, how did I even do that? Oh, jeez. See, I shouldn't have picked that up. Man. I got red on one of the dots. So I still have... Go over it without moving the brush too much. I can fix that. There's still a little bit of white left, so it's out. Okay, that crisis averted. I gotta let it sit and dry. It's gonna have to sit. It's coming along though. It's pretty good. Add some more red here so it doesn't totally dry up on me. Yeah, when you're doing stuff like this, and this stuff right here is going a long way. See, yeah, there's like I bought some silver for some reason at some point, and that's gonna last me a friggin' lifetime. It's cost me like $1. Yeah, I guess I don't have gold. I thought I had gold. Yeah. I bought silver for something. I forgot what. I want to paint more of this. I gotta let it sit. Yeah, he's a little wobbly. Tiny bit. He's having trouble flattening this out down here. I would have to take a whole lot off to have him sit flat. But mostly supports him. As long as you don't mess around with him, he'll sit. This guy, he's firmly planted. He's got a little bit of extra weight in the back, but he's more balanced. This is a little flatter. Ah, boy. Gotta give it time. I gotta give it time. Gotta wait. I have not FaceTime with my niece in like a month too. I'm like, oh. That was like our jam every week. That's why I made my schedule 9 o'clock for Thursday and Friday, because we used to FaceTime from 7 to 9 every Thursday and Friday. But that stopped. No, she's in school, so There's stuff going on. It's Leviathan. In a little bit. Things are going well, despite me getting some red on the white spots that I fixed in a hurry. Other than that, some digestion issues, I guess. But streamed some TPA earlier, and then I found out there was a tournament, and then I was, jumped in a tournament, and they threw me in the bronze division. Probably because I don't have any real record. But I played Space Shuttle a couple times, and I so far I'm in second place. So I'm like, yeah, all right. It's not going to help my overall score because I only own 4 out of the 8 tables that are in the tournament. But whatever. What do I have to lose? A little time. So, and I don't normally like tournaments, but I'm getting to know a lot of people that play that game and stuff, so I feel comfortable. So I really should let that sit for a little longer. It's dry to the touch, though. I'll start doing around the dots again, see how far I get. Oh, geez, yeah. I forgot, what classes are you taking again? As I concentrate really hard going around these little specks. And I know you, there's just so much for me to have to remember. Like if I don't talk to you on a daily basis, it just kind of drops off into the nether or whatever. So as for me, a couple of years ago I had some I ran into some found money, and I had earmarked it for education, but now I'm thinking, do I really need it for that? Still a consideration, but what I want to learn, I don't necessarily have to be enrolled with an institution to learn it. So I was still thinking about some kind of online class or something to that effect, but that may not even be for me. I'm not sure. Might invest it in something else. But it was earmarked for education anyway. So, like if I take some art classes or something like that, I really don't think that's going to help me. Not when I've been doing so many different things all these years on and off. Be kind of like, well, yeah, okay, yeah. And one thing I'm really afraid of is butting heads with teachers. And I don't want to have that kind of stress if I'm paying for some form of education. So there's that. Like there are people that go to school for this 3D stuff that I've actually taught myself. Some of these people can't compose a scene to save their life. He's like, I just fucking taught myself all that shit. But anyway, it's not about me. It shouldn't be about me. It's my stream, and it shouldn't be about me. Introductory programming. Okay, and speech. Man, I think I said that before with you. I considered programming for a while. I did programming when I was a kid, here and there, not anything too special. But one thing that really stuck with me was when I was between 11 and 12, and I was learning stuff in Logo. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but even back then, when video games were in their friggin' infancy, I was like, this is going to revolutionize the way we look at video games. I was like ready to design a video game using Logo. At 12 years old. When this stuff wasn't pervasive. When the stuff was, you learned programming in math class because it was considered math. When you have whole tech industries that are like doing this stuff now. It's amazing. I remember programming in BASIC on a Bali Astrocade. So you want to get obscure, but it was, again, this favorite word of mine, it was really janky. Imagine programming in BASIC using the equivalent of a telephone number pad. I mean, really, that's what it was. There's a frickin' number pad on the console. So you had to follow this code, this code to get all these letters punched in and shit. It was really fucking janky. I managed a little bit here and there until I saw my neighbor with his VIC-20. But second semester, okay. Yeah, okay. Ran from computer screaming. He became so burned out on it. Did I tell you my yeah, actually. Yeah, that's the thing. Doesn't require an intensive amount of math. Yeah. Get away with making you take extra courses. Yeah. There's that's like way back in the day when there was COBOL and Fortran and stuff like that. Lots of numbers and stuff. Yeah. But slightly related to the Navy. Did I tell you about my short experience with the Navy? I don't know if I told you guys that. And God, I really want to get like a nice coat of red on here that's you can't see it on the camera, but it needs a lot of red. I'm just gonna have to pile on some of the stuff. So I don't see myself being here for 3 hours trying to get this done. This needs a lot of coverage. If it was white, it'd be no problem, but it darkened a little bit because I baked it for an hour. Ended up being slightly brownish in color, which is actually what you want, but haven't heard that. Okay. It's fairly short. So when I graduated high school, that was back in 1990, and I had a 4-year trade certificate plus high school diploma. Um, Due to certain circumstances, um, I went to a Votech school, and I actually took some college courses on top of that. So I was top of my class. That was the whole thing. I was top of my class. They were slated to close the vocational portion of the school, and I devoted a large amount of my time to fight that. It ended up closing anyway, and lost a scholarship because of that. It wasn't it wasn't an outright loss of scholarship, but it was suggested. We'll just say I was kind of pushed off to the side. Just leave it at that. But there was quite a recession going on at that time, and people weren't building. And I'm an electrician by trade, so there wasn't no work. And I had already left my job as a dishwasher a while back, and I couldn't get that job back, so I was out of high school. I had a certificate, and I had no job, and I wanted to get into college. So I had an option, which was the GI Bill. So I'm like, okay, I'll bite the bullet. I'll do this. This was back during Operation Desert Shield. So there was a huge buildup of troops happening in September. So of course I was scared to death. I was like, what do I have? I don't have anything here. I gotta do something. That's a lot of poor people find themselves in a situation. But I have enough smarts behind me that I could pretty much pick and choose what field I wanted to get into. So I wanted to get into the Air Force. This actually is going to turn into a long story, I just know it. Wanted to get into the Air Force because of the technology. So I talked to an Air Force recruiter, and there was like a year-long wait before I could be considered. This was during a fucking military buildup, and there was a year-long wait. Like, what? I was like, I don't have a year. I gotta get in now. You don't understand. Navy recruiter got a hold of me and said, I can get you on the same track that you're looking for right now, and I can get you in the door in about 4 months. I'm like, oh, okay. Let's do it. So I took the initial test, and I aced the initial test. So we discussed things. He's like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, how about electronics technician? Because he was going over some fields. I was like, how about an ET, electronics technician? Oh, okay. Well, what if you can't do this? Like, you had to pick like three different whatever disciplines or whatever you want to say. So I picked my three out, and it had to do with like technology, and it was like electronics technician, aircraft technician, stuff like it. It's all technical stuff. Take the test. I tell him what I want, and he's like, "Son, how do you feel about the nuclear field?" I was like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "Well, I'm looking at your school records. You're top of the class." I'm like, "Yes, yes, that's correct." It's like, "Well, nuclear field's obviously specialized," he said, "but picture this: you're working on an aircraft carrier. You're the highest paid, or you're the highest ranked NCO on the ship, and you're basically sitting in a little red room all day watching gauges. But no, don't let that fool you. There's a lot of stuff you gotta learn, and We take about 24 students every year, or like every 6 months or whatever it was. It's small group. It's like, you go through your A school, you learn your basic stuff, and you go through your B school, and then if you make it through there with high enough, whatever you want to call it, grades, I guess, you go on to nuke school. Like, okay, well, let's give it a shot. But it gets better. It gets better than that. So they buddied me up with a guy who I didn't know. I guess he went to a different school, but we were in the same town. It's like, so what you in for? He's like, I'm gonna be a SEAL. I was like, really? Because yeah, I'm gonna do it. Like, wow. You know what it takes, right? It's like, yeah, I'm cool with it. I saw the videos and stuff. I was like, you, I just want to make sure you understand what kind of work you're gonna be doing as a SEAL. He's like, I I'm gonna do it. This is my thing. This is my jam. Like, hey, you know, that's very cool, man. I hope you make it, man. I really do. So, what you gonna be in for? I was like, nuke school. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, work in a submarine with 70 other guys and be underwater 6 months at a time and make sure the nuclear reactor doesn't blow up, melt down, whatever. Yeah, nuclear submarine carrying Trident fucking missiles with MIRVs on them and shit. So, but it gets better. It gets better than that. So we're in we're in the Hojo on 128 in Boston. I grew up in Massachusetts. Fair warning. So the three of us are sitting in there, and the whole thing was paid for by U.S. government. So kudos to them paying for the trip to take my ASVAB and go through the MEP station and do the physical and all that kind of stuff. It was actually a pretty neat experience altogether. As you can tell, I didn't make it, but we were sitting in the Hojo. We were just shooting the shit and stuff. And the recruiter was like, Bill, you should really try that out. Just give it a shot. I was like, what are you even talking about? I was like, there's like a height restriction. You know, you got to be like a certain height, a certain build, certain weight. They're very particular about this thing, for obvious reasons. I was like, besides, what are you gonna have me do? I mean, you're gonna stick me in a tunnel and plant explosives? He's like, that is exactly what we're looking for. We need somebody who can fit in a rat hole and plant explosives. I was like, well, why do I need to be a SEAL then? But anyway, that's my funny SEAL story. That was something that I used to use shortly after I was out of high school, saying, guys, I could have been a SEAL. Don't mess with me. I could have been a SEAL, which really is fucking ridiculous. I seriously couldn't defend anything to save my life, not much less consider doing that. But I was like, oh, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I'll take your word. I'll try it. What's the worst that can happen? I fail the initial test. Okay, fine. I go off and I do my thing. He's like, yeah, that's whatever. He said, but give it a shot. They need smart people. Like, okay, yeah, you got a point. But that's my funny SEAL thing. But how that ended up was since I have a perforated eardrum, uh, they sent me to a doctor that day when I was at the MEP station. They sent me to a doctor outside the station. They actually sent me to some surgeon, and he inspected my ears, and he's like, this does not look good. I was like, well, what are my options? Do I have an option? He's like, well, you can You can have your eardrum repaired, about 25 grand. I was like, I'm here because I don't have any money. Like, well, I have to fail you. You'll have to take it up with the man. And I kid you not, I mean, this sounds like straight out of a movie, but when I when I was brought back to the MEP station and I gave the Navy recruiter, the sheet that I got for permanent disqualification, no waiver, he went through the fucking roof. He was so fucking pissed. He's like, they can't fucking do this, can they? I was like, that's what the doctor said. I mean, what can we do? And I remember being in this office. It was the office of the commanding officer of the MEP station. I wasn't actually in his office. I was like in the reception area. And I remember thinking to myself, this is like fucking big time. There was an argument in that office, and I heard both men yelling at each other. And he came out and he said, there's nothing I can do. But yeah, it sounds like straight out of a movie. Like you're in this lobby and you hear these two guys arguing back and forth. They're shit. It's a chief petty officer having an argument with the CO of the MEP station in Boston. All because some 18-year-old kid had a hole in his eardrum. It's just, it's surreal. It really is. So, like I say here and there, like I'm not kidding when I say that I have a certain intellect, and I really don't like to brag about it, but I could have been a contender. Could have been a contender. See, here I go joking about it, It's like, you gotta joke about that shit. That's my long-winded Navy story. And it was a permanent disqualification, no waiver, all 5 branches, and yes, there are 5 branches, including Coast Guard. It would have taken an act of Congress to get me in. I kid you not. That blows my mind. I don't know how much more coverage I'm going to be able to get on this bloody thing. I want to get another coat on. I don't think it's going to have it. I'll let that sit. I'll let that sit. I apologize for the long-winded thing. But those nuke types glow in the dark. Martial arts training with the SEALs lasted 1 day. It is. About a year, or you might have been even closer than that, because I remember doing JC's Haunted House that year. So probably like a month after. I befriended a guy who was a fighter pilot, okay? I kid you not. This is like stuff that's like, I have so many interesting stories that people, they look at me and they're like, you're fucking lying. It's like, I am not lying about this shit. Like, just kind of go off topic a little bit while I wait for this to dry. I remember a couple of years ago, I was sitting down to lunch with a guy that I used to work with. And I was telling him this story about my best friend. One of his best friends, his dad is like super rich. And he had like 3 or 4 hot air balloons. It was like a hobby of his. Hot air balloons was a hobby. I remember walking home from work. I was like a sophomore or something at the time. I was walking home from work. I was dead tired. The sun was coming down. It was like in the summertime or whatever. And I walked by my best friend's house, and here he is with his friend. And his friend's dad, who drove a Porsche. So the Porsche was there in the driveway and stuff. I kind of stopped by. I was like, "Hey, how's it going, guys?" We're all just talking. My best friend and I, we're not rich by any means. Um, we were just kind of talking for a couple of minutes, like, yeah, we're ready to go out with Mark's dad here and ride on a hot air balloon. And I was like, dude, can I go with you? They're like, sure, we got plenty of room. We got like three air balloons going up. We'll stick on one of them. Like, fuck, give me 5 minutes. Book ass home. Change, get showered, brush my teeth real quick, run my ass back like in 4 minutes. I'm telling this coworker, this former coworker, this whole story about how my best friend and I are in the back of this Porsche, and this guy Mark's dad, Mark's like in the passenger seat, and his dad's like, and they're just racing through the city streets. We're all just, you're in a Porsche. He's like taking these corners like there's no tomorrow, and it's just racing our ass to where everything was set up, and get on a hot air balloon and just take a ride on a balloon. It's like, if you've never been on a hot air balloon, you gotta fucking do it. You just have to. Um, Unless you're scared of heights. I wouldn't expect anybody who's scared of heights to do that. But it's actually a really good way to kind of um to get over that fear, because you don't notice that you're just like, you're in a basket. You're just like looking around, just like you're just up in the air. You don't feel any motion or anything. It's so fucking amazing. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced. I remember, but the thing is, I remember telling this coworker this story. And I remember like a couple of girls walking by, and I could kind of hear them like out behind me as they were walking by, like they were like making fun of my story and stuff. You know, I'm like, you motherfuckers. It's like, this shit actually happened. I kid you not, this happened. But I have like some crazy stories. But um, let's catch up. Yes, let's start with an 8 mile run to warm up. Yes, SEALs undergo some very rigorous training. But what I was getting to with that was that year. Let's see how this is doing. I need to give that a little more time. That year, I befriended a fighter pilot. What was he flying? I want to say he was flying F-15s, and I remember, I think it was like a year later, he was like he was doing tours in Bosnia, or maybe that was like 2 years or something. I don't quite remember when that was, but he was a fighter pilot anyway. So I relayed to him my experience of the MEP station and trying to get into Navy and stuff like that, and just like mentioning SEALs. He's like, I took like a survivor course with those guys. He's like, that was like the toughest thing that I ever went through. He's like, and I'll tell you something. I'm flying this jet over whatever, you know, and I've got men with Kalashnikov rifles shooting up at my jet, and just scared shitless. He said, but that was still not as tough as that training that I underwent, the survival training with the SEALs. They train alongside each other a lot. And as a fighter pilot, you got to be really fucking smart. You got to be really in shape, and yeah, you really got to have it together. I mean, to be a fighter pilot of that caliber. He attended Top Gun school. It does exist. It's in Miramar Naval Air Station. He went to Top Gun. That's how fucking good he was. Fighter pilot, Navy fighter pilot. Somehow I ran into him. Just a little schlep. I don't know how much more coverage I'm going to get on this. I can see spots everywhere that are just like, they're just getting to me. just do the best I can to cover up what I can. It's just starting to get, again, it's starting to get janky. Anyway, that was the start and end of my illustrious military career. Which in a way I'm actually glad that it didn't happen. Although, yeah, it's like hindsight's 2020. If I made it and I got to nuke school and stuff like that, things would be a lot different now. I'd probably be retired military and working at some nuke plant or something, or doing some kind of engineering, making bank, and probably married, kids and stuff like that. So now I'm just some poor schlep working at a bowling alley, streaming on Twitch. So, but it is. It's. I like saying this a lot. It's not what you know, it's who you know. If you don't know anybody, you're not fucking getting anywhere. That's God honest truth. You could have the oh, this is dried up. Shit. You have the highest IQ on the planet. If you could be in a position that's not conducive to getting anywhere. And you could have just such incredible talent and intellect and whatever. It's not bragging. It's really not bragging. It's just to what could have been kind of a thing. As for extra sailors who wanted to learn some hand-to-hand combat. Okay. SEALs will take you down in a heartbeat. They're trained to do that, you know. And while in general, I don't like war, and I don't like how I'm going to use a word that you probably understand, but not everybody actually understands what the word means. But this nation's very jingoistic. I don't like that, and I don't like the glamorization of our soldiers and war and stuff like that. At the same time, it's an all-volunteer army, and these guys, for the most part, they know what they're getting themselves into. And I do respect that. I have the utmost respect for people just doing what they feel is right. You know, I couldn't hold a candle to what a lot of these people do. Oh, jeez. I'm gonna try to do this bottom part here. And I've had people call me some very nasty names for not being in support of certain war stances. I stick to my guns. So, truth be told, a lot of these people who are so for that kind of violent stuff, they don't have people to worry about. Might actually find themselves in harm's way. So, Mike, you ever thought of that? And I was willing to put myself in harm's way for an education. So, right up there with them. I've not known any SEALs. There's a couple of guys on Facebook who claim to have been doing that kind of stuff, but they're a little janky and like the fighter pilot friend of mine, is fucking cool as a cucumber, man. You gotta have a certain mindset for that kind of shit. Special forces, and yeah, it can get it can wear down on you, and you can have a mental breakdown, and yeah, pretty sad. and most of the time it's something they're the intentions are sound, but they're doing stuff that is not exactly agreeable on the world stage. But I don't want to. No, I shouldn't get too political about it. Suffice to say, I have respect, but some of the Marines were, yeah. My best friend's brother was a Marine for a while. He got into transportation, and then I think he was a New York firefighter, and then he was a New York City police officer for a little while too. I think he quit that though. He's seen some shit in his day, man. I tell you what, I respect him. And again, I don't approve of some things that our military handles and even our police force handles. Because there's going to be bad people. But I may post some contrarian stuff like on social media and stuff. But as for like what he did for his job every day, it's like I really respect and look up to him. All the stuff that he had to endure. And he admits now, like a lot of that stuff that he had to go through, and a lot of the bureaucracy stuff was total bullshit. I guess he just one day just said, "I've had enough of this." Very good man, got a very good head on his shoulders. Very smart too. Very smart guy. He's dabbling in programming now stuff, so I think that's really cool. I never thought he would do that because he was more of a gearhead. He was messing around with old cars like when he was in high school and stuff. So, but I don't know how much farther I'm going to be able to get with this. It doesn't seem to be covering. It looks okay. It just doesn't seem to be covering the way I like it to. There's like certain areas that just look spotty to me. I can't get them to get covered up. I'm not sure what's up with that. It's probably just like make an attempt to do one more coat. It's 11:30, so been at it for like 2.5 hours. Had no drop frames. Still at 3 viewers. I'm pretty sure I know who they are. Oh, now the viewer list is broken. You gotta be kidding me. Twitch, why are you doing this to me? Ay, ay, ay. I haven't gained any followers. What else is going on? I'm just letting this dry a little bit longer. I really want to get another coat on there to cover some of the lines. Getting hungry again. Just going through Facebook stuff. Emails. Holy shit, there's a lot of notifications. And there's the thing, I gotta ship that thing off. Why don't I pull that up? Well, I'm just like letting it sit there. It looks really good on the camera though, doesn't it? But there are lines that I see on there that they need some coverage. But the glaze will actually help with a little bit of that. It'll throw the light and it'll scatter the light. Um, but this commission right here, it's not my best work, but it was very specific. a character getting your hair brushed by another character. So I'm like, ugh. I mean, a character getting ready for some kind of a ball or something. So it's not. I'm okay with it. I'm not 100% happy with it. So what can you do? Hey, I got paid for it and it got approved, and everybody else is happy. So there's that, I guess. You like that? Well, thanks. Yeah, I mean, for what it is, I'm happy with it. But I had a vision, and I couldn't complete that vision. So I had to compromise in certain areas, and what can you do? Like the table, I was thinking about giving it a proper texture, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna have to bring it into Blender and map it and stuff, and get that all done. I was thinking, you don't want to take too much time on a project because then it becomes a time sink, and after a while it it turns into something that has no value, so I have to kind of work with a time limitation. If it takes more than a certain amount of time, then I'm going to need more money, just to cover the time cost. I was like, I don't want to spend like another hour trying to get this mapped correctly to work in Data Studio. That's the problem, and I'm not quite adept at that yet. So Animu is pushing, why can't you just make it brown? Okay, I'll make it brown. It's gonna look like coffee, but then I looked at it, I was like, well, I'm kind of okay with it. We'll make it work. Compositionally, it's really good. But there were things I wanted to do, and yeah. It's more red. But the next one is gonna have 3 characters, and they're all gonna be wearing lingerie. It's gonna be a Valentine's thing, so I wanted to stay consistent and stream something, so I was like, well, yeah, I got this here, so why don't I just stream this painting the mushroom. The power-up mushroom. I should change what the stream says, I guess. And if I don't get the coverage that I'm really looking for, I'll just kind of call it a day and give it a glaze, which means I'll have to clean the brushes and change the dirty water. And I'm really, really laying it on thick here. So just don't know why it's still streaky in spots. But it's just gonna have to be. It's just extra thick. It's going to take longer to dry. So when I get done with this, I'll probably like just cook some fish for dinner and chill for a little bit and then start the next commission. I don't think it's gonna be very hard to do. It's just three girls wearing lingerie and I haven't really decided on a setting, but it really could be anywhere. Probably put them by a fireplace or something. Something cozy. It'll work for them. And the client will be very happy, so. And then I'll have to wait 2 weeks for the points to clear. It's really the only drawback with that kind of commission. Ugh, this is really lumpy. Oh well. Eventually I want to just start doing colored clay so I don't have to do this. Since you can't add too much pigment to this white clay, it would end up being all pastel, so I'd have to get some actual colored clay. It's further on down the road. But since I decided on white eyes, to dig out my black. Oh, my shoulders hurt. Not gonna need much of this. Just one drop. See how I want to do this. This suddenly reminds me of something. I'll show you in a little bit. This other eye's looking a little bit janky. Should I go using that word again? Yes, got some hair sticking out to trim that back. So I shouldn't keep going over, that's kind of the problem. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone, Bill. Alright, so I'm gonna have to clean these brushes and use one of these other shittier brushes to do the glaze. which is right here. So our little one-up mushroom is just gonna be kind of like looking off to the side or something. Should use a toothpick for that or something. I should just leave it alone. Looking for perfection, I really shouldn't be doing it. Still some spots there, Bill. Don't get into it. Alright, let me gear up for this glaze here. Just give me a couple minutes. I had to take care of my small bladder too. Okay. See how this is doing. There's red shit on there now. Enough time I can fix it. Water soluble. I think it wasn't even there. I'll let that sit for another minute, 2, 3, something like that. But, well, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that pretty well. See those eyes? It actually reminded me of something here. I'll pull it up. Let's see if I can get a good, oh, there are. Looks a tad janky, but, I've always kind of wanted to do this. I'll put the thing up. I want to check out this thing here. Oh, why did it take me there? That's a vector drawing. It's odd. This gets a little janky. That looks like a 3D model. Let's see here. Trying to find a good picture of it. I'm not really finding anything good like that's big. But this guy right here, Vincent. I've been thinking for a couple of years to make that in Blender. Model of Vincent in Blender. I think that would be really cool. Let's see. Oh, you're in your blanket for it? Okay. She wants to know if you ever talk to Miss God or is it just me? She is not fooled. I admit, I don't talk to Miss God a whole lot. Um, Miss God doesn't really post a whole lot either. Yeah, she is more popular. I admit that. She's more talkative too. But yeah, I kind of want to model Vincent in Blender at some point. I think it'd be a pretty good exercise. It's very simple shapes and stuff. Yes. Yes, you got Vincent and you have Bob. Bob's the beat up one. Voiced by Slim Pickens, if you didn't know that. He'd be a little harder to model. He's all dinged up. But Vincent should be easy. Relatively easy. It's not at my skill level, but it might be a good challenge to kind of tackle. Okay. That soundtrack is very hard to find. For a long time, it was available only on record. So, just say I acquired me a copy of that. But I think since then, you can get it on CD. So, yeah. This is, I think this is ready to glaze. Everything feels okay about it, so I think it's about ready. Let's see. So yeah, after this, I'll just make myself something to eat, chill out for a bit, and then start on that commission. I was paid already, but I need to accept that payment, and then I gotta wait for it to clear 2 weeks so that I can withdraw it. Kind of a bummer, but well. I see that I already left a nice little film. This it's got the look and consistency and the smell too of stuff that we use at work for our approaches. Just throwing that out there. It's probably very close to the same formula. Just a water-based glaze. It's got the same consistency and everything. It's pretty neat. Yeah, you just paint it on and let it dry and good to go. I've learned that you can use water-based polyurethane, but it has to be the brush-on kind. Apparently, the propellants on the spray kind will just leave this tacky for all time. I learned that the hard way, so it was on a piece that I didn't really miss, so it wasn't too bad, but this is, you know, for the volume is actually quite expensive. So if I'm gonna do like a whole lot of this stuff, I'd be better off getting some water-based poly, like in a quart, for nearly the same price as this one tiny little bottle. It's really crazy how much they want for it. But for little projects, and you know, I can live with it. I could code a whole lot of stuff with this, but they're asking a whole lot. So I need to spin this somewhat so I can get to the eyes. Now we let that sit there. I think I gotta let it sit for let dry 30 minutes between coats. Okay. So we're really only gonna need one coat, so I'll just do this here like this. Remember, it only took a couple of minutes to be somewhat dry to the touch so that you could actually handle it. Just let that sit for a couple of minutes and do the bottom. Really getting hungry right now. Now let's see here. $3 at this. I've been spending 3 hours on that one mushroom. It's freaking incredible. And when I get good at it, it'll be a lot faster. And again, if I get into colored clay, then I can skip the step of painting. Just craft it all in different colors and not have to worry about it. Just put a glaze on it and be done. How 40? Oh God, I'm looking at these notifications I got here. It's crazy. Got bombarded by something. What else do I got here? Da, da, da. Probably be another 5 minutes or so before I can do the bottom. So I'm just doing off-screen stuff while waiting. I gotta see what's going on here on Facebook. That's crazy. I just got drive-by likes. That's what happened. Got it. Okay. That's why. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, close to 30 likes from one person. All in about a minute or two. Okay. That's still milky. take a little longer. Yeah, but they can only charge what the market would bear. I could probably sell it for $8 or $10. But you know, if I get good at it and I can make like a whole bunch at once, then bake them all, and again with colored clay, then I won't have to paint. I won't have to spend so many hours painting stuff. I could just get it done. Oh, that's getting really janky already. Trying to keep the brush alive. It's not having it. I mean, it's a cheap ass brush, but yeah, I mean, I sold that one perler for $8, and it um, probably took me an hour, hour and a half to make that all together. Just, ballpark. It's tough gauging such things because it's hard to compare that with it's hard to compare that with like a paid job or something, you know. It's something that as you get really good at it and the market will bear it, then you can get a lot done in a relatively short amount of time. But when you're when you're competing with machines that can churn stuff out at pennies to the dollar, it gets difficult. That's what a lot of this stuff is. So and some people will look at that and go, $10 for that. Well, I can buy a toy for $1. Yeah, you can buy a fucking toy for $1. Go for it. But that thing, not just you're not just buying a piece of clay. It's like this is the easiest thing I can grab right here. But like I paid what, like $5 or $6 for you can see that. I paid like $5 or $6 for that. For like it was like a 3-minute sketch. I'm not buying the paper and the pencil that's on it. That's something that somebody put some time into and drew for me on the spot. You're paying for stuff that can't really be quantified. And we had a great 10-minute discussion on Lovecraft. Oh, good lord. Some of that stuff is still milky. But the sides, I don't know if the sides are, no, sides are not ready yet. There's still a little bit of tack to it. Oh my word. Just want to get this done so I can get something to eat, stretch my back out a little bit. Yeah, you're paying for the blood and the sweat and all that stuff. Like there's, I mean, it's a power up mushroom, okay? But there's not a power up mushroom quite like this anywhere else on Earth. This is it. So, and I know somebody would pay $10 for it. If somebody was at a con and I had that at the table, somebody just might come by and buy it. I don't know. That's not why I made it. I made it because I was bored and I wanted to do something while listening to a creative stream. I said, I gotta get my ass over to that table and I gotta do something creative. I just gotta fucking do it. Can't keep putting the shit off and just play video games, you know. It's like a Mark would say, don't let your dreams be dreams. Don't let your dreams die. So, and he's very forward about it. He's like, just go fucking do it. I like that. I like it when somebody doesn't beat around the bush. He's just like, just fucking do it. Some people might be like, oh, my feelings. No, just fucking do it. And I would never really say it like that unless I knew the person very well and we were discussing things in private. But I like the honesty in that. Where somebody's just like, just go and fucking do it. What are you fucking waiting for? I just want to go and do this bottom part. Damn it. I've had the window open, so it's a little bit humid in here. We're really close. Let's see how it kind of stuck. Close. He's growing on me. Not literally, but I kind of like it. It's cute. Alright, I'll give this another minute or two, and then I'll do the bottom. So you don't want to get this like to get to sticking on things. It's okay to the touch, but it's might be just a tiny bit of tack there. You let it rest on the cloth, and it could actually soak a little bit into the cloth, and then you ruined it, and you have to do that part over again. Oh well. I'll give it another minute. This is saying like there's like 6 people on here. There's actually only 3. It didn't update. PBR's playing Pink Panther. There's one guy, Wax. I think he's been streaming like 24 hours. So check him out. Is WAXX333, Wax333. Make a time. He's got my picture of Sarah up still on his stream. It's really funny. He's streaming visual pinball, which is oh, let me scroll back down to this. I don't know why it did that. He's streaming visual pinball. There's like He's like running some kind of MAME. It's like a version of MAME, and it's virtual pinball. Well, yeah. But God, I think he's been on streaming for like 24 hours, literally. It's like I have not received any notification from him, and like every time I check Twitch, is like he's streaming. It's like holy shit. It's like really for the past day or so, and he still has my picture up. I think it's really cool. Type it in the chat. It's that guy. He's only got one person watching him, so I was watching him last night for a little bit, and I think sometime last week. Yeah, some of that stuff's still milky over there. Gotta be careful. I'm not seeing Kendall today. It's on last night for a while. He's very cool. That guy's very cool. Very nice guy. And actually, so is Mark, Moat DD. We're all creative streamers who are not particularly popular, but we're getting shit done. And damn it, we do have some followers, so. We're the guys getting shit done. Not like, I don't remember the name of the stream. I remember there was some girl that was, I was like, oh, somebody's drawing anime characters. Pretty cool stuff. Okay. So I'm gonna check out the channel. And she has like this fucking whiteboard set up, okay? And it was all, like divided into sections. And, she was taking like bits or something. I think she was taking bits. Something like that. Or donations. I think it was donations. For little chibi drawings. I mean, that's what I saw, like, that was the description and stuff like that. I was like, oh, you know, she's drawing chibis and she's taking donations. She has this fucking whiteboard set up. And somebody would send her like $1 or two. And then she would draw like this quick 1 minute chibi sketch like in one part of this whiteboard. I'm like, what is this garbage? There's all kinds of people in chat and it's all flying and stuff and everybody's doing the meme shit and I was like, what is this fucking entertainment bullshit? You know? And she probably made bank, but god damn it. If I ever get to that point, you have full permission to come over to my house and shoot me in the head. I'm serious. I do not want to be that person. I really don't. Which actually goes back to like the Patreon thing, you know? Yeah, Twitch is a very big community. You'll find that you know, you'll be interested in certain things and you'll kind of gravitate towards like how I started with that was I was curious if anybody had ever done a speed run of the game Earthbound. This was like 2 years ago or something. So I looked it up on YouTube because I watched World of Long Plays, actually. I ran into this guy named Propeller Boy who did like a semi speedrun of Earthbound. It was like a glitched version of Earthbound. But I found another one that said something like world record, blah 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 blah, Earthbound, blah blah blah, and a guy named Andy Perfect. So I found out that he had a Twitch stream and stuff like that. And at the time, I did not have a Twitch account, so I kind of figured out that he would be streaming a certain time. So after watching some of his stuff on YouTube, I would go like every Saturday and check it out and see whether he was actually streaming on Twitch. And I was not interested in getting an account on Twitch at the time. So I would just go and I would just hope that he would be on. If not, I would like watch watch a VOD of his or something. From there, it kind of grew a little bit out of hand. I started following some other guys, and this guy Falix, who I host a lot, kind of linked up to his channel and started getting to know some of the chatters in his stream. And it was that point, not too long after that, I decided, well, why don't I just start streaming on Twitch? Because some people had said, hey, you should like stream your 3D stuff on Twitch, maybe some people want to watch that. And I was like, it's a gaming site. Why would I do that? But then they opened up creative and stuff like that. And then, after kind of getting comfortable with certain people on Twitch and stuff, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll give it a fucking shot, So in August, I started that up. And then I got into, what was that? One of the GDQ things. It was in the summertime. And they had a pinball stream going, so I figured I would watch the pinball stream. They set up a bunch of pinball machines up in the lobby and stuff, so I kind of started watching some of the pinball guys, and then I was watching Dead Flip and stuff like that. Then I started talking to some of the guys in that community, and I watch a fair number of those streamers too, so you'll kind of find these little enclaves of people that you feel comfortable with, that you're all kind of like into the same kind of thing. And it's kind of happened with Kendall because I subscribe to Kendall and somebody else. I don't remember his name, but he doesn't stream hardly at all. But he does a lot of stuff in ZBrush, and I was really intrigued with the stuff that he was making in ZBrush. He was making a lot of really cool stuff in there, game assets basically. But Kendall streams a lot more. He streams several times a week, so I kind of jumped into that, and it was his little community that got me into the Discord thing. Then I was watching Mark on YouTube, and I found out he had a Twitch channel, but he wasn't really streaming. So I said, well, I'll sub to him, or not sub. I'll follow him and see what happens with that. And then he started streaming. I was like, oh man, yeah, I get to watch some of this stuff. And he's like, he's really cool too. So, but you can watch more than one stream at one time, but it can get a little messed up. Although there's something called multi-Twitch. When people are like doing a race, they'll set up their streams on a multi-Twitch. So you can go like to a specific multi-Twitch page that has all the streams. Like you could have 4, 5, 6 people all doing like a speedrun race of something, Final Fantasy or whatever. And you can watch them all like on a grid. It takes a lot of bandwidth, but I've done it before a couple of times. But as for me, I'll watch one stream at a time, and sometimes I have to be really particular about who I'm going to watch, because sometimes like if Falix is on, like Falix is on right now, but let's just say like if Falix is streaming and at the same time Andy Perfect is streaming something else, and at the same time Moat DD is streaming something and Invader Kendall, I'm probably going to pick Moat because I don't know, I jive with that guy, just with what he does creatively and his attitude towards things and how skilled he is with certain things. And he gives a lot of great advice. It's not to bang on Kendall at all. He's super talented in Blender too, and he's a very nice guy, and you know he's got a pretty good Discord community and stuff like that. But it would be like I would pick Moat DD, uh, because of the I like his personality, I like his approach to things, and the fact that he's doing a lot of shit professionally. So you kind of want to find that you want to find that mentor, I guess. You want to find a mentor, somebody that you can kind of follow, someone to be your senpai, I guess. Hey, speaking of wax, yeah, I was just telling Miss God and Melian about how you've been streaming you've been on the whole time, just streaming constantly, streaming your visual pinball, and about how you still have my picture of Sarah on, which I think it's so really cool. I do appreciate that. But poor me, 3 or 4 viewers. How is this? It's actually it's almost to the point where I can flip it over. Oh, his letters are gonna be red to you. They're like some kind of a green to me. He may have been lurking here too. He may have had the chat up while streaming. Unless he just got done streaming. I don't know. This thing it doesn't update. Oh, it says he's streaming, so he probably has my chat up. Okay. So that's probably what happened, so. It's probably what it was. Maybe he was lurking in the chat or something. I don't know. But he's streaming right now. He may have my stream up while he's streaming. I don't know. Throwing the links around, are we? Okay, I guess. But the bottom's pretty much dry to the touch. He's done. I'd say he's done. Just have to set him aside. It's just a slight tack to it, but it's not coming off. My 1-up mushroom. Here you go, right? Made out of clay. I don't know, this is gonna grow on me. I'm gonna like this more and more as I look at it. I look at it now, I'm just looking at all the flaws, but it's kind of like what I did with the Kirby. I was like, oh, this is terrible and that's terrible and blah 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 blah. I mean, he's all beat up at the back and stuff, but I look at it, you just kind of look at it face value, kind of like from here or something. You're like, I really like that. But another streamer, digital artist, last week recommended Super Meat Boy, so I'll have to pull up some references and really kind of study that. Thanks. He does look cute. Again, I see all the flaws because I kind of worked on it, but it'll grow on me like anything else that I make from hand. It'll grow on me. Except for the jewelry. When I get done with the jewelry, I'm generally really happy with it right off the bat. Kind of look at it and go, wow, I did that. Oh, that's right, it's after 12. I'm gonna get email notifications now. See jewelry like that. I was like, that came out really good. And no buyers, You get people interested, but then they don't follow up on the interest. So you're left kind of holding this stuff that really you're just practicing anyway. Ugh, rip my life. Stuff like this. But yeah, I'm gonna make myself something to eat. I'm gonna have some fish or whatever. So it's gonna take a little while to cook. Frozen fish, bacon frozen fish is gonna take about 40 minutes or so. But he's done. One up guy's done. Sunday. Not really sure what I'm gonna do Sunday. Commission should be done by then. But I should do something at the table, I guess. But at the same time, it's like we're on February 4th right now, and we got Valentine's Day is a week and a half out, and I gotta get that Valentine's Day stuff done. Just have the one render right now, so got to do the full shot and the group of 3 girls. Gotta get that done too. Not a single drop frame since that last incident over 2 hours ago. Shit, like 3 hours ago. Oh, I got mentioned on... Okay, I need to shut that off. Turn on Do Not Disturb. But, yeah. 2 viewers. Okay, well. Let's bring that closer before I go. Sculpey power-up mushroom. Took me 20 minutes to sculpt, an hour to bake, and 3 hours to paint. Because I put 5 or 6 coats of red paint on it. Jesus Christ, it took a lot of paint. Oh man. Kinda don't want to sell them. That's the thing. There's Leesburg, which just a couple towns over from here, was doing Comic-Con at their library, and I have not heard anything about this year. I really would like to do it again, but there has been no announcement, so I'm kind of disappointed. Kind of really wanted to do that again. I mean, regardless, it's a free event, but I had a lot of fun doing that. Not a whole lot of people there. I was able to talk to people, be comfortable, and they treated us very nicely. And shit, I sold like 8 prints there or something. I only talked to probably talked to 30 or so people. So almost a third of those people actually bought stuff. That's really good haul considering. Yeah, 5 or 6 hours labor. Again, we were here about this. It's tough to look at it from that angle where it's tough to compare it to an hourly wage job. I mean, in all honesty, if it was an hourly wage job, I would be sitting at an assembly line painting like 100 of these guys, like in a factory. So, yeah, you're looking at 5 or 6 hours labor for this, but it was something fun for me to do. get me away from the computer and do something creative that's not on the computer. Work with my hands. And something to just kind of put up on my shelf. Put up next to my router or something, along with the other two guys. So can't always look at it from that perspective. Although when you figure if you want to sell a whole bunch of them, again, all you would really do is you'd make a mold. What you would do is you make a series of molds. You make a mold for the bottom, a mold for the top, and then the rest of the stuff you could do by hand. You can really cut down on the time taken to do that. And it's not really a complex one. Again, it takes about an hour to bake it because he's about 2 inches tall. So, but that's about it for me. I've been streaming way too long here, and we're finally done. And I gotta make some dinner. And I got a text that was from yeah. This is Virgin Mobile telling me that my bill's about to be paid. Big whoop. But yeah. Dragon Castle drawing for 2 weeks off and on and sold it. Yeah, that's the thing. You practice enough at it, you get to a point where you could draw something like that, like in a half hour or so. And that's another thing. Like, you see people at cons who are selling prints. They'll say it takes like a week to start and finish a painting, but then you can do prints of that. So you duplicate it. You say, this is what I came up with. This is why the digital thing is so beautiful. Whereas like it takes me 4 hours or so to do something like this. That's a commission, but let's show, like, let's say this one took me 4 hours. This is a digital image. I can run off high quality prints of this, as many as I want, and I can just sell them. So you end up making the money back. If you can sell them in volume, you turn a pretty good profit. So again, that's the beauty of digital artwork. Oh, these are the two things. I don't know if I showed them last week, but that was ended up being birthday presents last week. I mean, these I just fired them off. It was like 2.5 hours total, including the rendering. So, but yeah, it's like the drawing I showed. I paid $5 or $6 for. A guy sitting there drew a quick 3-minute sketch of Cthulhu, and I paid him $5 or $6 for it. As I said, you're not just paying for the paper and the graphite like this. You're not just paying for the paint and Sculpey and that kind of thing. And you can only charge what the market will bear. So it's a tough act. It's never easy being an artist. So I just do what I can. And I do so much shit. I'm all over the place. You see jewelry in the background. It's like clay models, perlers. Showing my Mega Man. Just all kinds of stuff on top of the 3D illustration. I'm not a very good illustrator, but I'll try my hand at it here and there. I mean, I'm looking at a vinyl model of Lin Min May I put together. So I can bring that over too. Almost hate to toot my own horn, but I do a lot of shit. That's for sure. Get a lot of oohs and ahs and not a whole lot of money, so. A little bit more. Get it all the way up. You know, like that. It's unpainted, of course, but, you know. I sliced my finger wide open twice building that. Because it's, I believe it's a PVC model. And there was a lot of flash around, like, all the pieces. I had to cut it all off with an X-Acto knife. So, yeah. Nearly cut my fingertip off twice. And took me probably half a dozen sessions. So just building it and putting it together took a lot of time. Not a lot of pieces to it, but yeah, there was flash all over it. I had to cut it all away, trim it all back. So, and that's that model's been out of print for over 20 years. I found it on eBay for I think 35 bucks, which is a fucking steal for that. That's a 25th anniversary model. Something that I wanted when way back back in the school days. And I saw that, I was like, oh my god, this is all he wants for it. I fucking grabbed it. And I built it. I could have resold it for more money, but I built it. So yeah. That's the kind of guy I am. I bought a $25 plastic model of a battle pod. I probably can't get it to stand right because it's all janky. It's fully articulated. Oh, this, I'll just show you my Sailor Moon, then I'll leave. I do a lot of stuff, guys. Anyway. Anyway. Bloop. Actually, let's turn this. Let's change this back to turn on the white balance again. So it's actually correcting itself now. Cool. Yep, Sailor Moon. See, I think it's a 16-bit sprite in the Nintendo game from Japan. Only played it briefly on emulator, so. But yeah, I sold one perler, and it was a Yoshi. I made a kid very, very happy that day. That's really what it's all about. But yes, damn, from this camera, that power-up mushroom looks really good. He looks really good at that from the camera. Yeah, I'm rambling and it's nearly 1 and I gotta get something to eat. I gotta make something to eat here. Got to. So, let's see, it says Mario 1-up. It's not a 1-up. I never even planned it to be a 1-up. I don't even know why I put it up there, but I do not have a plan for next week. I can't tell you what I'll be doing. So, one last goodbye. Bye, everybody who has stopped by, everyone who's watching, all 2 of you. Yeah, good night. Thanks for stopping by, putting up with me for nearly 4 hours. I don't know where Animu is, but yeah. He's been having some kind of life issues, so. I was hoping he would stop by, but yeah, you know, what can you do? You can always check out the VOD later on. But that's it. I'm gonna make something to eat and I'm gonna skedaddle. So again, thank you all for stopping by, everybody who put up with me. So good night.